Hey, it's Rebecca. So it's been a very strange year, hasn't it? To say the least. The whole world has been affected in some way, shape or other by the COVID-19 pandemic. People are told to stay home, some people are told to go to work, other people are told not to go to work. The same with schools as well, which led to a lot of students falling behind, which isn't very good. It was basically, and still is to an extent, like a very confusing time for all of us. You would think that the government would reassure us, you know, since they are the authoritative figures that we're all supposed to look up to, but nope, it was the complete opposite. They ended up making people feel a lot worse by just not answering questions correctly, or just evading them completely, or just not being entirely truthful to the public.
It goes through air, Bob. That's always tougher than the touch. You know, the touch, you don't have to touch things, right? But the air, you just breathe the air, and that's how it's passed. It's also more deadly than your strenuous flus.
3 weeks later, he told the American people something different.
But that's a little bit like the flu. It's a little like the regular flu that we have flu shots for. I really think, doctor, you want to treat this like you treat the flu, right? And, you know, it's going to be fun.
People really took a liking to Twitter this year to share their opinions and conspiracy theories in blaming the full pandemic on 5G and saying that was the reason why everything happened. But I just think some people have way too much time on their hands. My life has certainly changed since lockdown. I mean, the staying home aspect actually wasn't that bad for me personally because I didn't really leave the house in the first place. But when it came to college, I did find it quite difficult because everything was moved online and we weren't able to actually go into college to see like the lecturers and like other classmates in person. So I didn't really like that aspect of it, but obviously I'm used to it now because it's been, over a year now. So as for like my personal life and what I've been up to, I don't really do much, to be completely honest. I've been cleaning a lot. Is that interesting to talk about? I read quite a lot. I've actually made quite a few new friends this year, which is, you know, quite surprising since being stuck at home. But it's because I've started watching people play games on Twitch and I've basically just made a bunch of friends on there. I've even made a few cameos in my sister's Twitch channel. I don't play games, I kind of just sit there or like lurk in the corner watching her play games, but it is quite fun. So I will now move on to the interview portion where I will be talking to two of my sisters and actually a person that I've made friends with during the pandemic. Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jodie Mackey.
Graham Lees.
Kim McCoy.
I'm doing okay. Maybe a little bit bored. I'm missing my family and I'm missing my friends. But being a teacher, I still am working away, working with the kids online.
I'm struggling a little bit at the moment with being stuck at home.
I'm hanging on. Can't wait for things to go back to normal.
As a biology teacher, I knew this was something pretty serious. And I knew that it was going to be different from swine flu and bird flu. Even back then, way back in March 2020, there was already talk of a vaccine.
I don't know, I didn't really take it that seriously to begin with. I suppose you didn't think that it was going to come over here and you thought I just thought it might just stay over there and you wouldn't have really seen it, and definitely not with what happened in the end. So.
It was pretty scary and I hoped it wouldn't come to Scotland, but I've seen a lot of people talking about it online.
It was all a bit surreal initially. The school was up in a frenzy about it. We thought a few weeks off school would do, but little did we know it would be so much longer than that.
I was a bit wary at first because I didn't expect things to get worse rather than better.
Obviously I didn't want to go into lockdown, but I knew it was necessary, so I didn't really complain about it at that time.
In secondary education, everything was a complete 180. All work for staff and pupils was all online. All work was now assigned on Microsoft Teams. All staff meetings was on there as well. But unfortunately, pupils lacked the motivation to do any of that.
Well, it didn't really affect me that much because of what I do.
It didn't really affect my job, except just we had to start wearing masks to protect the residents and other staff members from the virus.
Due to the lack of routine and being cooped up in the house, my mental health took a turn for the worst. I was sitting in the house all day long, all by myself, and I think I craved human interaction.
Yeah, not great. I've been basically a lot of driving about in the car and just going out drives. I know we weren't supposed to travel, but just to get out and just sitting in the car, not going anywhere. Yeah, just to clear the heads, really.
There was a lot of pressure at work, especially with the social media coverage, and especially in the old people's home, so that really put a lot of stress on myself.
The first thing I'll do is I want to reconnect with all my friends and family. I just crave that human interaction that we had before. I even miss just going to the cinema as well, so...
Yeah, probably go out with my friends, pub and etc, and then probably take the girls out somewhere, maybe even go on holiday somewhere with them.
Well, before it would be going to the pub, but I've recently found out I'm pregnant, so it'll probably be taking my son to Pirate Pete's or something like that.
Thank you for interviewing me.
Goodbye. It was nice talking to you. Had a really nice time. Becca was a good interviewer, even though she had to put up with me, because I'm not easy.
No, thanks.
COVID has affected so many people in so many different ways, but the one thing we all do seem to miss is that human interaction, talking face to face with someone. That's in our human nature to have that contact, but we've been deprived of that. However, there is one rule that I want to stay in place after the pandemic's over, and that's actually the staying 2 metres apart from each other, especially when queuing in shops, because there was no need for us all to stand that close before. And it's not nice when you're lined up and then someone's basically pressed right against you. It's not nice, so I want that one to stay. There actually has been quite a few positives because of COVID, obviously not taken away from any of the terrible things that have happened, but since people couldn't travel, less pollutants were getting put into the atmosphere from gas emissions, from things like cars and planes, things like that, so it's saved our planet a little bit. More people started to go out walks, me included. I know, imagine that. But the first lockdown happened when the weather was just starting to get nicer and warmer, which is pretty bad timing. Not that any other time would have been any better, but people just wanted to go out, spend time with their families, which obviously it wasn't possible. But the walks enabled us to actually get out of the house, which everyone desperately needed. It allowed us to see the beauty of nature once again, and basically just allowed us to clear our heads. I personally can't wait till we have that sense of normality back again, and I have a strange feeling that it actually won't take the world that much time to readjust to back to the way things used to be. I know that's a worry that quite a lot of people have, but at this point people are just fed up of the pandemic and we all just want things to go back to normal. Presently there's vaccines going around where a huge amount of people have already got them. Restrictions are being eased finally, and Boris said that they should be fully away by summertime, fingers crossed, but let's see if that actually happens. Hopefully by the time this video is being watched, we actually have a sense of normality back in the world again.